Hey there, meatbags! This episode of Diabolical features spoilers for the movie Little Shop of Horrors. Now feed me!
You are listening to Diabolical Evil Schemes Done Better, a podcast where four long-suffering friends dissect film's most dastardly schemes, then try to improve them. I'm your host, Adam. This week, we shall be competing to improve the villainous scheme of Audrey II in my favourite musical, Little Shop of Horrors. So, prepare yourself for a weird episode, and let's get diabolical. Welcome to this week's episode. As usual, you find myself and the panel of peril bursting at the seams with banter and witticisms. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into the introductions and opening question. What's the most seemingly innocent but secretly dangerous being or thing that you've ever encountered? And we'll start with Gaz.
Hi, Peril Pals, Gaz here, as per, and my answer to the opening question this week. I've had a drink, but I'm playing it up slightly. I'm potentially slightly drunker than that. The most secretly dangerous thing that I've encountered, it's got to be a horse, hasn't it? They look lovely, but they're all fucking muscle. And if they decide that they aren't arsed about you standing vaguely near them and go for you, you got to get out of the way quick, as we found out one time. My young family and I.
Yeah, my auntie, not my mum's sister, friend of the family, her son, David, had his finger bitten off by a horse.
Oh my
feeding
God.
it
Wow.
sugar or something.
Yeah, gotta watch out for the zombie horses.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Especially once they get a taste for human blood.
So, yeah, that's it. They turn straight away.
They're
yeah.
the worst horses.
Track you through generations, those fuckers.
Didn't someone in Old Colin get kicked in the head by a horse?
My nana did.
Yikes.
I've told this story
Jesus.
before on the podcast. She was hiking,
Have you?
got kicked in the head by a horse. She was in her 70s as well.
Was the horse wearing slippers?
No?
No.
The horse was wearing ice skates. four of them.
Pierced their cranium, but did her no harm. That's how tough they made him in those days.
Like the coconut in Castaway.
Ben.
Hi, Peril Pals, Ben here. And my secretly dangerous thing, well, I went for a few. I've encountered pufferfish in the ocean here in Japan.
Fugu?
Yeah, fugu.
Fugumi!
And they're so cute, you know. I've never seen one puffed up, but when they're little, they're just little tiny little cute things.
Yeah.
I've seen a lionfish when I was in Okinawa.
Ooh.
Oh,
That was pretty scary because it wasn't far from we had like this big inflatable thing that we were playing on.
They are beautiful though, aren't they?
They are beautiful to look at, yeah. But I think more dangerous than all of those is paper. Get yourself a paper cut. Fucking hell, it hurts.
Ooh.
yeah.
It's disproportionate. The size of a cut to the pain you receive. It's very disproportionate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at it on a table, you wouldn't say boo to a goose. Paper cut yourself. Oof.
Isn't it that how they tortured people as well? Give
Yeah.
1,000 cuts with 1,000 paper cuts. Which give somebody.
Ah, it's nasty.
Yeah, that'd be horrible, that wouldn't it?
Just walk away, wouldn't you? Just walk away.
What if you're getting
After
tortured?
like the third or the fourth one.
Well, do you remember the scene in Spirited Away when poor Haku gets attacked by the flying paper?
Ah,
that's awful.
yes, of course.
Can't run away from that. Can't even fly away
No,
from it.
definitely not. So paper, there we go. So we've got
Beware magical paper, ladies and germs.
That's the old point goes.
so horses, paper, and now Super Dude. What will you regale us with?
Well, I'm thinking I had something, but now that everybody said something so poetic, I'm thinking I should say like snow. Beautiful but deadly snow. But actually, what I'm going to say is, I went on holiday once for like a week, and when I came back, I was planning on having some gorgeous homemade American-style fluffy pancakes. And I'd already made up the batter before I went, and popped it in a thermos. Good old thermos. Sealed it up good and tight, popped it in the fridge. That'll be ready for when we get back, I thought to myself. Comes back off holiday, he does. Opens, takes the cap off the thermos. It's hard to get off. This is weird. It's hard to get off. It's hard to get off. That's weird. But the cap comes off. It does. Then he unscrews the cap, doesn't he? And what happens? The fucking pancake mix explodes all over his face. all up his nostrils, in his eyelashes, all over the ceiling, and it's not pancake mix anymore. It smells. It's rotten. It had eggs in it. They were fresh, they're not anymore. Now it smells bad, and it's in his eyelashes and up his nostrils.
Next to the what's its dust.
Exactly. That's how I finally got it out after all those years. Absorbed into the pancake batter, and you sucked it out.
So are you saying that pancake batter, once refrigerated, becomes pressurized?
It ferments, yeah,
Oh,
and the
Jesus
air
Christ.
builds up. Yeah, the air escapes like from a dough, I guess.
Do you add yeast to it? You don't add yeast to it, do you?
You got a yeasty pancake.
I don't think so, but flour produces yeast anyway. And actually,
I think you were
yeast
trying
is
to make
always
bread.
yeast is always in the air at all times, right? But yeah, I think usually when we add dried yeast, that's like fast acting and it boosts yeast production. But when you
So you're saying yeast is the secret dangerous thing?
possibly, yeah, yeast,
Yeah,
but it's not pretty, is
pancakes.
it? But pancake
It's
batter
the,
is.
It's the misuse of yeast.
And a
That's
nice
what you-
thermos, and this was a good-looking thermos. It was one of those dinky little black ones.
You should have thrown it at a Terminator.
What time of year was this? Yeaster.
Oh,
Or was it just yesterday?
oh,
Cheers.
Jesus!
I suppose I only have one question about this.
Go on.
Why are you
Oh,
pre-making pancake batter? Who in the fucking world pre-makes pancake batter?
And goes, do you know what? I'm going to put it in a flask.
Goes on holiday.
Well, what happened was, we said on the morning before we departed that we'd like to have pancakes. But then we...
Yeah, so make it
Change
when
your
you're
mind?
back, like everyone else.
yeah, no, not for when we returned. On the morning of departing, we wanted to have it then.
Ah, I see.
But we didn't have time. And I thought, I don't want to throw it away.
And that was the tragic tale of events that led to almost certain death.
It's like a good episode of 999, that, isn't it? I'd love to see a recreation.
God almighty, yeah.
I'm imagining it exploding out like the infected blood in the thing explodes out with the heated up paperclip. Bwah!
But we'd see it in slow-mo 4 times from 10 different angles.
Spider silk, beautiful but deadly. There's another one.
Covered in batter, mixed with what's it crumbs. Super Dude was rushed to the hospital and
Look at this idiot trying to pre-make batter a week before he needs to use it.
I remember opening the fridge, and that's the last thing I remember until I woke up in hospital with no eyebrows.
What's yours then?
Well,
How can you follow pancake batter?
I'll tell you how. This is how. My deadliest thing is my wonderful partner, but I've not made this choice myself. It's from a memory of something my son said to her, and she must have been rabbiting on something one day, and he's a fan of the wildlife presenter Steve Backshall,
Right.
who likes to deal with dangerous animals, doesn't he? Quite
Yeah.
frequent them in their natural habitats. So my partner was talking to my son, and he turned around and said, "Mum, you're acting quite deadly. I think I'm going to add you to my deadly 60." And so from then on in, whenever she starts rabbiting on for a bit too long, I say, "Oh, Mum's acting all deadly again." So that's the reason why she's on my son's deadly 60. And if that ain't deadly, I don't know what is.
I just want to know what the hell else is on that deadly 60. Bloody hell.
He'd probably have like a list of foods he doesn't like either. So
Broccoli.
I would have thought I'll have to ask him.
Broccoli. Oh.
Thank you all for those dangerous examples, whom I shall add to my own list of shits that I intend to avoid at all costs.
Including your partner.
No, she's not on my list. She's on my son's list. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so that's fine. She's still fine with me. Yeah. For now. Little Shop of Horrors is a 1986 big screen adaptation of an off-Broadway musical, which itself was inspired by a 1960 film by $1,000 movie king Roger Corman. Little Shop of Horrors is directed by Frank Oz, featuring music of composer Alan Menken and the lyrics of writer Howard Ashman. The story revolves around Seymour Crowborn, a timid flower shop assistant who discovers a mysterious plant that requires human blood to grow. As the plant, named Audrey II, grows, so does Seymour's fortunes. However, the bloodthirsty giant flytrap becomes increasingly demanding, and Seymour finds himself in a moral dilemma on whether to commit heinous acts to get what he desires. The film features some truly brilliant musical numbers, featuring a blend of horror and humour, fantastic performances by lead actors Rick Moranis and Ellen Greene. If that wasn't enough, the film has some of the best cameos you're ever likely to see in cinema. Filmed in Pinewood Studios on the famous 007 stage, to create its huge sets, Little Shop of Horrors was made for a budget of $25 million and went on to gross $39 million. But the studio considered this an underperformance at the time, despite it being a hit with critics and audiences alike. However, the film was a smash hit when it was released on home video in 1987 and continues to delight to this day. Thankfully, a recently planned reboot featuring Taron Egerton, Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans has been scrapped. Hallelujah. Most importantly though, this film and the songs therein played a large part in the education of the panel of peril, with our music teacher Ian Williams only too happy to jump behind a piano and give us a version of Skid Row on demand at school lunchtimes. Hopefully, the rest of the guys have similar fond memories to share very soon. However, before our thoughts, in the meantime, some questions. Ben, we all come from a town near the real-life Skid Row, Rill. In your opinion, who would be your own local Seymour Krelborn and why?
Well, I think you've given me this question knowing who I'm going to say. It's loaded. It's absolutely loaded. Because there is only one. He's got the same hairstyle. He's got the same glasses. He sweeps the floor in the same manner. It's our dear old friend, Gripper.
Good old Peer Griff.
Good old Peer Griff.
Except Thane
He even
Simon
sings.
hasn't worn his glasses for about 30 years.
But he's got them and he knows it.
He knows it. He knows
He's
Seymour.
got glasses energy.
Big glasses energy.
Bless him. Thank you for being so predictable.
Yeah. I tried really hard to think of who else it could be, but there was no one else.
No, there's nobody else. Super Dude,
Yeah.
you played Elvis in our primary school show once and bear
Yes.
a striking resemblance to a particular character in this film. Is there a more
Audrey.
sadistic vocation than being a dentist? And which career gets your vote?
Yeah, I think there are a few career paths more sadistic than dentistry. Met police, am I right?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, politicians or fucking...
Oh,
But
They like.
the
politics.
one I'm going for is PE teacher.
PE teacher, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking sick fucks.
Oh, I like PE
They
teachers.
can be.
You make you do cross country in the rain. Get
Oh
fucked.
yeah, that's nothing. I guess you have to like rain. I'm okay with rain.
Oh, I'm not a fan. I like watching it through a window pane. I don't like
While you're
running
lying
in it.
down.
Yeah. Really, the most sadistic thing a PE teacher can do, and I think nobody will disagree with this, is make a boy with breasts go shirtless when he forgets his PE kit.
Don't make me run! I'm full of chocolate.
But especially if it's basketball.
Gaz,
Hello.
in pre-recording warm-ups, listeners may be surprised to discover you prepare your vocal cords by serenading the rest of the panel of peril with a musical number of your choice.
It's true.
However, if you formed a 3-part street harmony group, who'd make up the other 2 members of the team?
I would have Alec Jones for his delightful singing voice, and probably the wrestler Kenny Omega for the other, as he seems like he has his head screwed on correctly, and also his finishing move is called the One-Winged Angel. Thank you.
And does he sing?
Possibly. These facts
Possibly.
are unknown to me, though perhaps with a good Google search you may be able to glean the truth.
Is he the eye candy?
Kenny Omega,
Jesus.
yes, he's part of a tag team with Kota Ibushi called the Golden Lovers, and their gimmick is that they're very, very close friends.
Oh, I see.
Ah, nice. Well, thank you very much. And now, dear gentlefolk, our thoughts. Super Dude, does this film hold a special place in your heart as it does with myself?
Yes, it does. And what's more, I think it deserves that place because it's just a great piece of filmmaking. And I love a musical anyway, but I think this is a really good one, especially considering some of the songs in this were written for the film version and some from the stage version were, omitted. But I just think the sets are wonderful. The puppetry is wonderful. It has this quality of almost transporting you from the cinema screen to the stage because of the way it's shot and lit. And yeah, I think it's wonderful. I love the songs in it. And even if they weren't in it, I think it's just a great kind of creature feature, B-movie homage. It obviously loves, although it massively trumps the Roger Corman version. But, that's a lot. That's due to budget in many ways. Roger Corman's version actually is great. But the Audrey Jr. in that can't hold a candle to the great Audrey II, which they used a lot of clever filming techniques to bring to life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it has so much going for it. Steve Martin, who I love anyway, he does something in this that is just on another level. to make a silly cartoon character like that as compelling and twisted as he did, and it still works in the context of everything else going on in there, I think is quite a feat. And as you say, chock full of fun cameo roles for some great stars. I really think this is a great movie, and I was pleased to revisit it.
Excellent. That's music to my ears, or musical to my ears, if you will. So
I would have to say as well, of Ellen Greene, I've got to say, she carries a lot of this.
Oh, fuck me, yeah.
Audrey in the wrong hands, could be a very irritating character, but she plays it so earnestly. And her singing voice is unbelievable.
It's incredible.
So
incredible,
good.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're all going to gush over the other actors in it, but I just wanted to go early with some praise for Ellen Greene, who really kind of carries this. And obviously a lot of the plot hinges on your belief that Seymour would do all this for her, and I think you do believe that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Let's hear now what Gaz thinks.
Yeah, I'd echo a lot of that. Some banging tunes, which are indelibly etched in my memories, downtown, principally among them.
Yeah.
Again, superb performances. Rick Moranis is great. Strange to have such a dorky-looking little fellow as convincing a lead, like a kind of, not really blockbusters, are they, that he's a lead in, but kind of big movies, kind of tentpole-style movies. It's interesting. You kind of wonder if he hadn't have retired from acting, where he would have gone, whether he would have stuck with kind of decent budget family fare or quite what would have happened. We'll never know.
Serial killer stuff.
Possibly, Robin Williams' route.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But then, did he retire before that Matthew Broderick Inspector Gadget? Because I remember thinking at the time he would have been great for that.
I Shrunk the Kids to one of his last movies, wasn't it? Something like that, wasn't it?
Well, there's three of those, isn't there?
The Kid.
Only I Blew Up the Kid, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I think that was it, yeah. So he was kind of going in a weird direction.
Yeah.
Like no one was watching those.
Not a huge amount to say in broadness about the film that Craig hasn't already said. But yeah, it's an absolute classic. When I got back into DVD collecting, one of the first DVDs that I bought, because my daughter wanted to see it. She didn't watch it with me this time, and she's been duly punished. But next time,
I thought it was quiet.
Yeah, next time she will, or she'll be even more severely punished.
Yes.
Be a week in the basement.
Brilliant. Right, thank you, Ben.
Echo. Just echoing the praise that those two have given. It's an incredibly special film for me too. I absolutely love it. And this time I was delighted to watch it with my younger daughter Mill, and she's just been singing the songs around the house ever since. So it's great to pass that on to the next generation.
Yeah.
I just think, every song, every performance is magical. You've called out Ellen Greene, Levi Stubbs as Audrey II. What a voice, man.
Yeah.
It's indelible. It's just great.
Oft imitated.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those films like Rocky Horror that I first saw because of my older sister, who would constantly say, feed me, Seymour, like all the time,
Oh yeah,
like for years.
endlessly quotable.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned in your introduction, Adam, about it being built on the soundstage in Pinewood Studios.
Yeah, 007 stage.
I just this time I just loved watching it and seeing the set, looking into the background.
Yeah.
It just gave me so much joy seeing these like handcrafted sets, and made me very nostalgic for the time where that was the norm,
Right.
rather than all kind of CG. Yeah. So yeah, really enjoyed it. So overall, I give it: leave your phone to one side, stem any unwanted blood flow, boil the petal, and pour yourself a nice cup of sweet pea.
Oh.
Bouquet yourself in for a spa treatment. Settle any outstanding thorny issues. Root out any troublemakers.
Oh, nice.
Pull on your cardigan.
Oh.
Then plant yourself in front of a TV to watch this absolute gem of a musical. You won't be dissoil pointed.
Oh, that's the coup de grace.
Oh.
And that is out of photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. Wow.
That is out of
Yeah,
photosynthesis.
okay, tough kid. I said plant yourself. Plants don't talk.
Well, I'm obviously chuffed to bits that you all have such fond regard for this film and memories.
It's so good.
It is brilliant. It's not my favourite musical for no reason at all, and hence it's one of the best films ever made, I think, really out there, probably in the top 20 for me. I totally echo everything you say. I think if Ellen Greene, who was the only off-Broadway cast member to retain her part, wasn't in the film, I think it would have been a lot weaker because of it.
Yeah. She's also reprised a role in a version where Seymour is played by Jake Gyllenhaal. So you can watch that on YouTube, and that's quite fun.
Was that like an off-Broadway musical?
Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, right, okay. Maybe I'll take a look at
It must have been electric to see her live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that energy that comes through the camera is incredible. So being in the room with it.
It's the fact that she's so dainty, isn't she, and so small in voice as a character, and then when she sings, she really she's repressed as a character, isn't she? But when she sings, that's her true voice.
Yeah,
so to speak.
and of course that's kind of famously come up recently because of people mocking Lady Gaga, explaining that
Explaining acting.
the reason Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux, has musical numbers isn't because it's a musical, but it's because there are some emotions that the characters can't express through dialogue that have to be expressed through song. And everybody's like, yeah, that's what a musical is. But I think that is kind of exemplified by what you said about her performance, about Ellen Greene's performance as Audrey, is that in her song she finds her voice and like her strength of character.
That's it, yeah.
Not just in the lyrics, but in the actual vocal, which is a great performance in a musical.
Yeah.
I mean, even the visual language. It's the visual language in this film is just on another level. You get that very early on in Downtown, where you've got Seymour and Audrey separated by a corner.
Yeah.
And then, they're doing the parts of the songs. It just tells you everything without even having to know what's going on. You can see it right in front of you. It's brilliant.
From the director who brought us 2001's The Score.
Yes.
Great Frank Oz.
Yeah, fantastic.
But also a film that we have covered, Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And I think Henson helped with this, didn't he, I think? I'm not sure.
Oh, surely. On Audrey.
I think, I think so. But, the effects still look great, I think, for Audrey II. I thought there was going to be some obvious something you can pick out, but it wasn't really.
No.
I just thought, how's a film almost 40 years old still look and sound this incredible?
Well, I alluded to it before, but like the clever thing they did in puppeteering Audrey II is they shot it with a high-speed camera so that they could speed up the footage and make it look like it was moving faster than it was actually being puppeteered. But to match that, mainly Rick Moranis had to mime.
Slow the fuck down.
Yeah, he had to sing slower and move slower to sell that. And I think I look at it, I cannot see where he was doing that ever.
Wow.
Like, what brilliant performance from him to be able to pull that off.
I thought some of it was split frame, though, wasn't it? Where he was one side of the frame in a different
Possibly.
shot, and then he would have just had like the static plant there, and then they split the
Possibly,
shot.
but I did read that he did that. He did slow his performance down to make it work.
Yeah, it's seamless, really. I couldn't pick anything out, to be honest.
And even just touches like they must spray the inside of Audrey II's mouth with like just like a water treatment, because you get that glisten on the camera as well that just brings it to life.
Yeah.
There's no point in this film you think that's a puppet. Not really.
Yeah.
It's how many moving parts it's got, isn't it? It's like the lips move
Yeah.
independently, the tongue moves independently, the tendrils move independently, the head moves independently.
The neck as well.
It's got more independent movement than you, Gaz.
I try and keep as still as possible so that when I need to burst out of my chair and take down an attacker, I've got all my energy stored like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's fair.
wow.
That's fair enough.
It looks like that neck couldn't support that head, and yet this feat of engineering, it not only does it, but it kind of undulates, and it's really well puppeteered.
I couldn't have done a better job myself, and that's high praise.
I would agree.
Making a giant plant and puppeteering it, you mean?
That's high praise, yes.
That is.
It's high praise indeed.
I don't know if Gaz is being facetious or not, but I'll be honest, I watch a lot of films, and my overriding thought in my mind is, I would have done this better. I would have done.
And we'll move now, predictably, to favourite sequences, and we'll start with Gaz.
I think I'm going to plumb for Audrey's song, which I imagine is called Somewhere That's Green, which is kind of the, I guess, the cartoonish vision that she has of her white picket married life. But then the bit that I really loved is you have the eating TV dinners while their kids are laughing at something on TV, and she looks out the dream window, and then it cuts to the real window in Skid Row, and there's just a bum walking past, like, coughing. It's just a really nice button on the scene, contrasting the dream with reality.
Oh, there's some beautiful transitions throughout this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
One of the best ones, I think, is the dental spit to the back alley where Seymour's chucking water out.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
The puddle, space and puddle as well at the start.
Brilliant.
Ben?
Well, I'm going to grab it before anyone else does.
Oh.
It's the dentist song.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, right from the motorbike flying into shot.
Yeah.
As soon as he's introduced, he's just brilliant.
Yeah.
But, I love that song. I've had the kids singing it around the house for years, even before they've seen the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know the words. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's absolutely masterful.
And Super Dude.
Well, I was absolutely confident everybody would want to pick Bill Murray's scene where,
Love that too, yeah.
he's the masochistic dental patient who ruins Steve Martin's sadistic dentist day by really
By actually liking
enjoying
it.
the torture. Such a classic comedy situation that is
So
just
good.
brilliant. Lifted straight out of the Corman film where Jack Nicholson plays the masochistic patient, and that's pretty funny as well. But I think Bill Murray kills it in this. His
He
demeanour.
does. He's just his performance in the, throughout the whole scene, because when he's there, he doesn't stop talking, does he? And then when he calls him, and he's just talking and talking, and the only thing that interrupts him is when he pulls out that big set of pliers. Oh my God!
He apparently ad-libbed that dialogue as well. So
Wow.
You can totally believe it because it's just so flowing, and it's just like his Ghostbusters lines as well. That it's just random waffling bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It was the seed I was going to pick, but I'm glad you picked it anyway, because it is just such a fantastic film.
it's great.
Are there any other occasions where Steve Martin and Bill Murray work together?
I can't think of any.
I don't know.
Apart from,
There probably is.
SNL.
Because SNL, I was going to say, he must have
Because
done.
they
Because
were brilliant together. My goodness.
So good, yeah. It was so good.
Can't think of any.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain.
There are occasions of Frank Oz and Steve Martin working together again. I'm sure we'll cover Bowfinger at some point. One of the great schemes in cinema. Not an evil scheme per se, but a diabolical one. Certainly, it's on my list if it's not on any of you guys'. So we'll be covering it at some point.
Well, I would have chosen that, but then I've got a close runner-up.
Yeah.
For my favourite sequence, or a running sequence. It's the three girls, Chiffon, Ronette, and Crystal's interventions and stuff, and they're like the storytellers throughout, aren't they? And I just love that they're the narrators, and they've got all these little numbers that link all these like little montages together and stuff. And I just think it's just a fantastic piece of storytelling, and it feels it feels like they've successfully recreated that something was on the stage, and they've managed to mold it into the. It's just brilliant, and it's the first link. They're talking to Mushnik, aren't they? And he shoos them away from the shop, and he's like, "Shoot me!" And he goes, "Oh, we took a break. Yeah, we went to grade 5 or something, and then we split." And then they walk past that alley, and then the woman comes down saying, "It's 7 a.m." and starts Skid Row, and I was just like, "Oh, so good."
Yeah,
so good.
No, they're great, aren't they? They kind of like everybody else, aspiring for a better life, and their dream, their inner world is the magical one, and their reality is Skid Row. That's really good.
But it's like the characters on Skid Row, but then they're also these like narrators that change. They've got wonderful like outfits, and they go and stand on top of buildings and sing in sparkly dresses, and then they do the thing with supper time as well. They come out of the shadows and they're like dead ominous and stuff like that. It's just brilliant. I just love their. I know it's more than one sequence, but I just love their sequences. Brilliant.
Greedy guts.
Well, I think if somebody had picked Bill Murray's theme before me, my backup would have been Christopher Guest doing his crazy fucking...
Yeah, well, we've got lines, so I hope that probably one of those might come into there, because I was suspecting you might do that. So, seeing as you're talking now, you might as well get that out of the way.
Yeah, well, I was going to just point out his crazy fake advert style delivery rather than anything he specifically says.
Excuse me, I couldn't help noticing that strange and interesting plant. What is it?
He is fantastic. But as a segue, my favourite line is partly to do with the delivery, because out of context this line is not funny and it makes no sense, but it's just before the guy sure looks like plant food to me, when Steve Martin returns and he steps off his bike and the bike keeps going. I fucking love when he does that stuff. But then he's complaining to himself about why Audrey's not there, and one of the lines that he says is, "Falls off a motorcycle." That's my favourite line. It's just such a stupid thing to be angry at somebody about. And just the way he delivers it.
Yeah, he's fab, but I don't think he puts a foot wrong, does he? Yeah. It's just so good.
I've also, if we come back around, I've got a favourite line from the Roger Corman Little Shop of Horrors.
Ah, very good. Yes, we shall come back to you at the end. Ben?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There is a lot. The one I was going to say, you just mentioned, which is, I couldn't help but notice that weird, strange and unusual plant in the window, especially echoing the line that just went before. But obviously, the one that I've just quoted for my whole life, and I think we mentioned it a little bit earlier, is "Feed Me Seymour."
Yeah.
There's no one that, hasn't seen this film as a youngster and then not just gone through their life using it intermittently.
Yeah.
I've been using it for the past 30 years, must have been. "Feed me, Seymour."
Yeah.
And I also like the line from the song, "The guy sure looks like plant food to me. The guy sure looks like plant food to me."
Yeah, brilliant. Especially when they do that thing where they're getting closer to each other as they sing it to each other's faces. I love that.
Yeah.
Like classic musical
amazing
trope.
It's so good, isn't it? And it's like that foreboding to begin with, and then when he sees him doing the horrible things, turns around and they're both,
Without wanting to get too much into theory, I guess they do this in musicals because it's a visual of these characters like becoming closer in sync as they get physically closer to each other.
Yeah, great.
We could talk about the visual language for hours in this film. It's really, really well done.
Yeah.
Gaz, do you have a favourite line there?
Oh, you must do. You bloody must do.
You'd think, wouldn't you? You'd think. But what I'm going to go for is, I'm presuming it's the title of the song, which is just when Audrey II refers to itself as a mean green mother from outer space.
It is, yeah.
It's just a wonderful lilting. What's the word I'm looking for? The flow of the sentence. What's that word? Cadence. Brilliant cadence. Yeah.
And that is one of the songs that was written for the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant line, isn't it? Mean green mother from outer space.
Yeah.
Just rolls off the tongue.
And he's like, follows up, Seymour's out of space.
So had Alan Menken done the music for the stage show and then been brought back for the film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Menken and Ashman, yeah.
As for me, I think I'm going to be a greedy bastard again and just say it's all of Levi Stubbs. Because I just think he brings Audrey II to life in a way that's like, in these modern times, for me anyway. I always thought when I watched it when I was a kid, I wasn't sure whether Audrey II was a male voice or a female voice. And it still seems that kind of way. It's not, I don't want to say gender specific, but I mean, it's just this fantastic voice that just...
Androgynous.
It goes from,
Aren't plants asexual anyway?
Well, yeah. There you go. So perhaps maybe that was in his mind when he played it, but I just think the range of he goes the octaves and stuff throughout is just brilliant.
You look so pleased with yourself.
I am.
Can you take a picture of how smug he looks?
He can't recreate the smugness of that reaction. It was pure. He felt it in his heart.
And a little bit of the tip of my winky.
I'd say that, but then if you're looking for one particular line, I've got to say it's when Bill Murray's getting his treatment, pulling his mouth apart like that. Yeah. And he says, "It's your professionalism that I respect."
Yeah.
And it's just mental. It's just mental. And then, Super Dude, you said you've got one from the original movie.
Yeah, because the guy who plays Seymour in the Roger Corman movie is more like the gruff ghost cabbie out of Scrooged than he is like
he's
Rick
weird,
Moranis.
Isn't he? Yeah.
And there's a line where the plant says, where Audrey Jr., as it's called in that, says, "Feed me." And Seymour's response is, "Oh, take it easy, Dracula. What do you think I'm carrying here, my dirty laundry?" And he's carrying a body.
That's on the trailer, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I watched the trailer for it the other day, and I was like, I wonder how different this is. And I thought, oh my god, this is brilliant. And
it's worth watching,
for sure, because it is obviously tongue-in-cheek as well. And the whole concept of going from that film to the musical and then to a musical film is just an incredible transition, isn't it, the whole thing?
And you can really see when you watch a Roger Corman movie that it is the budget is the reason why it's not good. It's not him.
Yeah.
I don't know why he was never given. Maybe it would have been the same. If they throw money at him, he would be like, "I'm not spending this on the film. Fuck that."
Got himself a new pair of pants.
Gold House.
To me, it looked like very much in similar vein as Plan 9, because they didn't have a lot of money, but he's trying to do his best. I think he probably had more money than Ed Wood, though. So.
Oh no, he's a much better director than Ed Wood.
And now the conclusion of tonight's $1,000 movie: Roger Corman's Titanic.
I'd really want to see his Fantastic Four. I don't know how easy that is to get hold of now.
He only died earlier this year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it was April or May.
Had a really cheap funeral there, didn't he?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die and have a really cheap funeral.
He got him a cheap coffin. He had to do the coffin flop.
Just his buddy.
Naked bodies busting through shitty wood. Please listen to the following real conversation between two normal people.
Yo, what's up, G?
Oh, nothing. Just been listening to some totally rad new podcasts I discovered.
Say what?
Totally awesome and not playing by the rules. Not even their own.
What's it called?
It's called Diabolical Evil Schemes Done Better.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
And they can be found at an internet cafe, can they?
You couldn't be more right. Right with a W. Seriously though, give them a listen. They've got over 100 episodes, and not all of them are shit. Some are actually passable as entertainment. Just.
You know I might. They sound feeble enough for my meek tastes.
Don't forget to rate and review them. In Apple Podcasts if possible. That's scientifically been proven to boost their listening figures. Although there's no real evidence to support that. It just brings comfort to them, I believe.
That's not what you've written there.
I know. I just got excited.
People have had enough of scientists anyway.
What did they ever do for us?
So, it's diabolical, and they want our review.
Only from Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. Should I say that again?
Yes.
Apple Podcasts.
That is literally the word on the street from two people who really know their stuff.
Who were those two people?
We don't
Wait
know.
a minute. Wasn't most of that asking people who are already listening to the podcast to listen to the podcast?
Yeah, it was just basically like a really shit promo.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was mostly a plug for Apple Podcasts, and I think if we say Apple Podcasts, maybe that'll do something. Say Apple Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Apple Podcasts.
All right.
It'll pick up.
That sign says Apple Podcasts. No, it says applause.
Audrey II, a carnivorous alien plant, lures Seymour with the promises of fame and fortune in exchange for human blood. As it grows, Audrey II manipulates Seymour into committing murders to satisfy its hunger, aiming to propagate its species and take over the world. Ultimately, its scheme unravels when Seymour discovers its true intentions. In a climactic battle, Seymour electrocutes Audrey II, causing the plant to explode and die, thwarting its plan for global domination. However, you may or may not be surprised to hear that the original ending of this film was indeed Audrey II achieving its goal of world domination. After Seymour fails to defeat the plant, Audrey II devours both Audrey and Seymour. The plant then reproduces and spreads across the world, with giant Audrey II clones wreaking havoc, destroying cities and terrorising humanity. This didn't test well with audiences, and a subsequent reshoot was ordered. And we have the happy ending we all know and love today. But what did we all make of the original ending and Audrey II's scheme in general? Super Dude.
Yeah, it's quite cool, isn't it, the original ending? I can see why test audiences didn't like it. I think I read somewhere that Frank Oz said what he realised was that when it comes to the stage show, the audience invest in the performers, and so they know that the performers are coming back for the curtain call, and they don't feel sad to see the characters die. But in film, that doesn't happen. You don't get a curtain call, so cinema audiences were sad to lose the characters they'd fallen in love with, and I can get that. It is fun. In the Corman movie, Seymour feeds himself to Audrey Jr. at the end and melds with it, and his face becomes one of its little buds that it has. Yeah, it's freaky as fuck.
That's creepy.
Oh, so the stage show was the Audrey II taking over the world ending? Is that what you're saying to me?
No, but in the stage show, well, yeah, it does, but not the kaiju version. But yeah, the Audrey II wins. Seymour and Audrey won. Both perish in the play. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a fine plan. I think obviously we're going to improve it. The problem, I think, is Seymour. I think Audrey II has made a huge mistake picking Seymour as its partner.
Oh, yeah. And is that something you might redress in your plan?
It may well be.
Ring.
It's not up there for getting a cute thing into every home, with Gremlins, is it? I mean, Gremlins is the one you want to look at for that being a success. Get a cute little mogwai in every home, and then
You're saying that's the benchmark?
I would say that for this type of plan.
They never market the mogwai though, do they? It always seems to be like
the old guy with the curiosity shop doesn't, because he knows. But the corporation in Gremlins 2 is like, we got to get this mogwai out. We got to sell it.
We'll get a mogwai on every street corner.
Yeah.
Gaz, what do you think?
I don't think there's much for plan at play at all from Audrey II. I think there's just kind of James Belushi randomly shows up at the end saying that he wants to get a fucking product line of Audrey II's going. It just kind of comes out of nowhere for me. The little Audrey II faces. And it just feels like this bloody plant is making it up as it goes along. Needs to enlist some help sooner. And
whoa, we're getting a glimpse behind the curtain there.
Okay.
Oh, he's done it again. He's laying the chum.
This plant is clearly intelligent.
Well, yeah. Smarter than the average plant.
Yeah, I think it probably knows its own reproductive cycle, and it knows that it's going to spawn little versions of itself when it grows to the size that it needs to.
The first time it's happening, it already knows that this is going to happen the first time it happens.
It's not the progenitor of its species, is it?
Does a child, uneducated, know that it can spring children from its own genes?
Instinctively, I think it does.
Pish posh.
Oh, experiment.
Channel 4. Let's get it going.
I disagree with you guys. I think he did have a plan. I think he chose a real sap that he knew he could manipulate. And I think it was quite wise for a plant, to be honest. He gets pretty close to what he wants. In the original, he did get what he wants. It was only bloody sappy audiences whining that caused him to fail. So I'm giving him 9 florets of mean green broccoli, friends.
Bought from a Chinese man.
For $1.95.
Bought from a Chinese.
Thank you, Ping Pong. My name is Craig, Mr. Simpson. Sure is. We've reached that point again, folks. This is the part of the show where we all compete for peril points by offering our own diabolical plans. Can we convince the rest of the panel our plan is top trumps? Gads, nature calls. Are you going to bust our balls?
I'm always busting balls. Always.
You're busting my balls here, man.
Balls
his
that
MO?
needs busting. Gaz will be there. Busting balls and busting balls. Okay. The pitchman stands before the dimmed lights, the faint hum of anticipation vibrating through the room. He takes a breath, his gaze shifting to the plant on the table. Audrey II, vibrant, green, and with an unnerving hint of life. The slide projector clicks softly, images appearing on the wall. A suburban home, a white picket fence, and a family gathered in their living room. We live in a time where things are disposable. Everything from relationships to consumer products we buy, we use, we toss aside. But in the chaos of the modern world, we crave permanence. We search for something that will stay, something that grows with us, something that will flourish under our care, but only if we dare to believe in its potential. The carousel clicks. A woman stands in her kitchen, watering Audrey II, its tendrils gently swaying. The family cat watches from the counter, curious but unconcerned. Audrey II is that potential. A plant, yes, but not just any plant. It's a companion, a conversation piece, a source of pride. It's not just decoration, it's alive. Growing in ways you could never imagine. It craves your attention, demands it even, but what if that was exactly what we needed? Something to remind us that we are important, that we matter. A plant that will reward your love with something extraordinary. Click. A father returning home from work, setting his briefcase down and leaning over to admire the now larger Audrey II. A small smile flickers across his face, a shared moment between man and nature. Audrey II doesn't just sit idly on a windowsill. It responds, it evolves, it becomes part of the family. You watch it grow, day by day, and in return, it gives you something priceless. Connection, not just to the plant, but to your home, your loved ones, and yourself. Click. A family gathered around the dinner table. Audrey II sits prominently in the background, its presence felt but unobtrusive, a centerpiece of sorts. The family laugh, perhaps sharing stories, the plant almost a quiet participant. You see, Audrey II is more than a plant. It's an opportunity to take part in something that will grow, that will thrive under your care. And in a world that so often feels like it's moving too fast, it's a reminder that some things, like nature, like family, are worth tending to. With the right care, they can grow beyond your wildest dreams. Click. A close-up of Audrey II, larger now. Its leaves spreading wide, its tendrils curling in intricate patterns. There's something almost majestic about it. Something that suggests power, yet beauty. Because that's the truth, isn't it? We all want something in our lives that makes us feel needed, important. Audrey II offers that. It's not just a plant. It's a symbol of something larger. It's about nurturing. It's about growing. It's about legacy. The future is waiting. And it's green. Don steps away from the projection, letting the silence linger before his final words land. Audrey II. It's not just a plant, it's an investment. In your home, in your family, in yourself. The lights brighten slightly, and he offers a confident smile. Now, who's ready to grow?
Nice.
How much was everyone in the room smoking during that presentation?
Like bloody chimneys they were, and drinking lots of old fashions and
Scotch.
that malarkey.
Yeah.
Oh, slicking their hair to the sides and nodding to each other.
Roger turning to someone halfway through and raising his eyebrow and giving this whiskey a little slosh.
Making sexist comments.
Could you tell us some of those sexist comments that were going around the room during this presentation? Just as an example.
Her blooming tits. I'd like to motorboat those tits.
Roger says to Lane, he goes, I wonder if this plant can replace my wife. In the bedroom. Lane, I'm asking if I can fuck the plant.
It's got vines from here to Yaya.
So he gets Don Draper to market the plant. The plant gets Don Draper to market the plant. That's my plan.
Yeah.
My plan is for Don Draper. My plan is the plant gets Don Draper to market the plant as its plant. Market.
The timeline lines up. So,
Does it?
Yeah,
I think
it
so.
does actually. That's why I did it.
Yeah,
Why? When's the film set?
The 60s?
1960.
Oh, is it? Oh, shit.
1960, I'd say.
Well, my plan's not going to make much sense. I just went with 80s because that's when the film was made. I didn't know there was like a... Because it says in a decade not too far from our own at the start, right? It doesn't say the 60s.
It's suddenly become a two-horse race.
No, because at the start it says in a decade not too far from our own.
There are plenty of
Yeah.
implied references to the fact that it's set in the 60s.
Yeah.
The biggest one being Audrey being excited about the 12-inch TV screen in the place that's green.
I mean, the 60s isn't a decade too far from the 80s, in fairness.
That's right.
Technically correct.
Yeah, but it's talking in the future.
Yeah, but it's still not too
Right,
far.
so that means the 80s is in.
We're already,
It means
we're
the
already
80s is
talking
in,
about your
right?
plan and
Because
you haven't
the
even told
80s
us
is
yet.
not a decade not too far from the 60s, right? It works both ways, right?
I think the 12-inch TV screen places this in time. But I think, just to be fair, because I think we're saying it's not set in concrete, I'm only going to dock 50% of the points I would normally give you for having set it in the 80s.
Yeah. I think as well, it speaks volumes of already picking apart your plan and you haven't even told us yet. So with that in mind, any
No,
further
wait,
questions
I've got a
for
question.
Gaz?
Okay.
How did the plant get Don Draper involved?
He went to the offices of what's the company called? I've forgotten.
Cooper, Smith and Clark?
Something like that, isn't it? Something like that.
It's something like that.
Roger, Bob and Steve?
So Audrey II goes to the Manhattan offices of this particular advertising firm, dressed, hang on, I can see you looking incredulous, dressed in a Big Mac and a trilby.
Solved it.
Yeah.
Solved
Maybe a pair of glasses perched upon its head. And simply enlist the services that way. Stolen money from the till of the thriving florist business, which it sleeps in overnight. It's got plenty of dosh to purloin. Sterling Cooper, yes, of course.
Look, he's saying that like he's just remembered it. He's fucking Googled it. Fucking twat.
And enlists the services of Don the Man, the Madmen Man. Don the Madman Draper, and the rest is history.
So are we buying the plant can walk through New York?
Yeah, well, it's in a row with the Thing from Fantastic Four and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all wearing the same disguise.
I buy it. I think that's totally feasible, and you'll probably find out why in about 15 minutes or so.
Well, there's two plans I don't need to think about when it comes to voting time.
Oh, I wouldn't be so sure. And we'll move on to the person whose plan we don't really need to hear, but we're going to listen to it anyway. Ben.
Chastity Peggy. Dusty David. Egberta Elsbeth. Fanny Sabina. Ginger Gabby. Hampton Titus, Ivan Xavier, Juicy Clementine, Lucretia Clementina, Misty Constance, Patty Sue, Queenie Yolanda, Roberty Bob, Simon Augustus Nash, Valerie Joy, Wesley Rudy, and of course, Zebedee Lester.
Of course.
Upon examining a newspaper left on the countertop by the old man, Audrey II thinks he has stumbled upon a list of local sex workers, which gives him a little idea. But upon closer inspection, it turns out to be a list of actual names given to those inexplicably loved freaks of the 80s toy world, the Cabbage Patch Kids, which gives him a little idea. He calls up the guys at Coleco, the company that produces the little abominations, and proposes a collaboration. The suits have heard the buzz about Audrey II and scramble downtown to seal the deal. When they arrive, they find the shop empty, except for the huge plant and a note that says, "Sorry we're not in right now. We're out on some urgent plant business. Help yourself to as many little buds as you need." Soon, every toy store around the world is packed with children and parents desperate to get their hands on a limited edition Cabbage Patch Kid and a rare plant combo.
Do you realise the film's set in the 60s, not in the 80s?
It's not. It's set in a decade not too far from our own, my friend.
Yeah.
It's a baked-in collabo, that. I'm not having any other viewpoint.
Okay.
I know they were popular, but I always thought Cabbage Patch Kids were fucking horrendous.
Yeah, me too, but they are hugely popular.
I don't think they were as popular as those little machines you used to make slush puppies out of.
Way more popular than them.
No.
I don't really know what they are. I know the name,
They're kids.
but I can't think what they look like.
Ugly little weird dolls.
Do they look like cabbages? What's the deal?
Not really.
They smell like cabbage?
They used to come out of a cabbage, didn't they? Like they
No,
had
they were
cabbage
found
leaves, like an
They're
egg.
found in a cabbage patch, all of them.
It's Superman.
I think parents didn't want to tell their kids that they came out of a vagina, so they gave it the old Cabbage Patch wink wink, and then it became a toy.
Yeah.
The old Cabbage Patch wink wink.
You've used that one once or twice, haven't you?
I've googled Cabbage Patch Kids, and one of the things that has come up is a picture of what's his name, Aaron something, Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Aaron Paul.
Is he a Cabbage Patch Kid?
No, he's holding two Cabbage Patch Kids. Aaron Paul holding two Cabbage Patch Kids. Bit of a fan of Cabbage Patch Kids, Aaron Paul, apparently.
Is he saying Cabbage Patch Kids, yo?
Cabbage Patch, bitch. I went to see an advanced screening of the Need for Speed movie.
How did you?
Why?
Because it was free. And in attendance were stars Aaron Paul And, you know, that guy from Preacher, whatever the fuck his name is, who played young Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
Hank Azaria?
Hank Azaria. Aaron Paul and Hank Azaria were in attendance. And they came out, obviously, to talk about Need for Speed. And someone in the audience was like, say it. And Aaron Paul was like, yeah, bitch. And then him and Dominic Cooper just walked off to go and get pissed. And didn't come back at the end of the
they just
movie.
left Hank Azaria on stage alone.
Right.
So, is there a better collaboration than Audrey II and Cabbage Patch Kids? That's what I want to know. Because I think the answer
Yeah.
is no.
Yeah, Audrey II and Don Draper. That's your better collaboration.
Yeah, or Aaron Paul and Hank Azaria in the Need for Speed movie.
I should have enlisted them to sell Audrey II.
Listen, no shade to Dominic Cooper. I like him. I think he's good.
Yeah, he's all right. He's your bland kind of nobody actor that's in nothing particularly good.
I liked Preacher. I thought it was pretty good. And I thought he was quite good as Tony Stark
Hey,
as well.
can we not derail my plan conversation here? What I would like to say is that
You've already done that yourself.
it's much more likely that Audrey II could use the phone, because we see him use the phone in the film.
Yeah.
It's much more likely he could do that than put on a Mac and a trilby and walk through New York
I
to the
disagree.
offices of
I
Don
disagree.
Draper.
I
That's all I'm
disagree.
saying. That's
I
all I'm
violently
saying.
disagree.
Well, all he needs is an eclipse and he can appear wherever he wants, apparently.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. How often do they happen?
But one happened
Yeah.
in the
Yeah. Happened when he appears,
in
right?
the 60s in the film. So that's when Mad Men was set. So
Wait. So you're saying he goes? No. He's in the plant shop in Gaz's. So Seymour's raised him. He doesn't go straight to Don Draper, which probably would
is
work.
that right?
Well,
Yeah, because he's saying he got the lolly. He said he got the lolly from the plant shop.
yeah,
Whose plan are we talking about now?
Gaz's.
Mine.
I'm just trying to
Are we
describe
talking about yours?
so mine sounds better.
Okay, I think it's best if we all just move on.
With our lives.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that for a while, to be honest.
Right. And we'll have Super Dude's plan next, please.
Look at this pudgy little motherfucker. Motherfucking sweaty pork boy. Fucking piggly wiggly. Flabby little chub chub. Juicy little fucking bitch. I can't wait to eat this sucker up. Nummy nummy nummy. Num num num. Yeah. Gonna eat that ass, yeah. Eat his ass up. Tender.
It's true, you've gone Gaz.
Motherfucking jiggly son of a bitch. Yum, yum, yum. Oh yeah, it's supper time. Tooey want num-nums. Fucking eat that fucker up, oh yeah. Sweaty little porky sausage fingers. Fumbling that trigger. But wait a second. This fellow, Mr. Mushnick, has already shown he's willing to murder to protect what's his. Perhaps I should let him in on my secret. Get him to feed me Seymour for supper. He was already going to dismiss him from his job here at the flower shop. Yes, I'll do it. Mr. Mushnick and I shall become partners, and with Seymour and his guilty conscience out of the way, we'll be free to conquer the world. I thought to myself that night. And so we did. And it worked. And now we run the world. But of course, you already knew it would work. After all, if there was ever anyone as invested as me in getting an Audrey II into every home in America, it's that big fat blobby bastard.
I don't know though, because he seems like quite a nice guy, really. Because he's really upset
Mushnick.
about Audrey being bruised
Exactly.
up by.
Yeah, he seems like that.
Sort
Until
of,
he
but
turns on Seymour.
Throws Seymour under the bus.
No, but he
doesn't
doesn't turn on him. Does he see Seymour chop up a body? I think that's pretty much what
Yeah,
anyone else
but
would
he
do.
doesn't call the police.
All right, super dude, what would you do? You tell me. What would you
Call
do if you
the
saw someone
police.
chopping up a body?
Call the police. Wouldn't turn on him with a gun and blackmail him and say, you got to give me the secret of your plan. That's the actions of a bad man.
Ah, yeah, forgot about that bit.
And I'll tell you what, Audrey II knows it.
Tell you what,
Yeah.
can we, super dude, you give your plan to Gaz, and Gaz, you give your plan to super dude, and I think the normal balance will be restored.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like you'd swap brains. Have you done that?
Yeah.
Somebody zapped you with one of those guns.
Man with two brains.
Oh,
What's that
trading
film
places.
where Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis swap bodies?
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, Freaky Friday. This is what it is, Freaky Friday on the Diabolical podcast.
Oh, it's Friday as well. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh, Saturday morning here.
Freaky.
Told you.
And
That's well
last
freaky.
Friday, or possibly the Friday before, it was Friday the 13th.
Oh, shit.
Oh, there's another
Good enough
one
for me.
in about a month and a half as well. Shits.
Oh my god, 2 Fridays the 13th in 1 year.
Can you handle it? Can you handle it? Can you? Can you? Can you? Can you?
So do you reckon
Can you?
Mushnick would feed Seymour to the plant?
Yes,
Oh,
Do you reckon?
really?
sure.
If he found out it's horrible secret,
If he turns around after threatening to shoot him, basically, and the plant says, I'll tell you the secret. It's that I need to eat human blood. Why don't you feed Seymour there to me? And then you and me can sell plants and you can have everything you want. And he could go, Seymour was going to feed you to me, you know.
What do you think Mushnick wants? What would he buy with all his riches? What kind of things?
Bigger flowers.
He just likes money. He's sexually attracted to cash.
yeah. he brought.
Shoves it down the front of his trousers and walks
Yeah.
around pretending there's nothing there, but we all know there's money down his trousers.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I see you, Mushnick, you pervert.
Yeah. He's sexually attracted to money and Benjamin Franklin, so certain notes really get him going.
It's win-win.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
Okay. Right. Any further questions for Super Dude?
Not a question, but just a comment. Let's all write down in our notebooks that Super Dude padded out the beginning of his plan with some faux humour to just to hide from the lack of content.
Is that what you normally say of Gaz's plans? Would you be so derogatory and insulting?
I keep that internal, but I do think it. Yeah.
Now you vocalise that, it's out. The cat's out the bag. Is what
It's
you-
not
basically.
padding. It's telling you. It speaks to his train of thought.
Ah, okay. Tell me more.
Tell
about-
me more,
okay.
Tell me more. Something else.
Juicy little fucking bitch. Yeah. Can eat that ass. Yeah. Eat his ass up. Motherfucking giggly son of a bitch.
Well, you've nailed the character. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Right. Any further questions? Any further comments or additional derogatory terms? No. Then I shall punch our ticket and bring us on home. Look! This plant here ain't going nowhere, says Audrey II in a call to its mothership that beamed it down during the total eclipse of the sun. I think we need to enact Plan 9.
Oh.
That's right, folks. You've guessed it. The current plan is number 8. So therefore, in accordance with the laws of Mousematics, an intergalactic standard Fleb nor nom nom distilled into judgment liquid, the sequential plan must be 9. Dressed as a travelling salesman, Audrey II uses stilts for legs, but have shoes on the end to make it look like a feet. Enters Dr. Orin Scrivello, DDS's office. The dentist is so high and off his face on gas, he can't see that the salesman is really a giant plant in a long brown overcoat
Oh.
and pinstripe trousers and Panama hat, and that he is just eating his staff and clients.
Plagiarismo.
Audrey II knows he's a baddie, almost as bad as they are, so he'll go along with the scheme. Audrey II tells him that cotton candy, or candy floss, was invented in 1897 by dentist William Morrison and confectioner John C. Wharton. At the time, they thought it was great at cleaning teeth, which was partially true. It was so great that it dissolved people's teeth, and they had to visit the dentist more often for long, complicated, and expensively painful procedures. Orin's laughter subsides. A dentist created cotton candy? He must have been more evil than me, he thinks. Hey! Aren't you a plane in disguise? He says, regaining his lucidity. So what? Says Audrey II. The giant plant makes a good case, and Orin shrugs it off. Audrey II convinces Orin to dispense candy floss at his practice, to recommend his patients use his specialist formula to keep away cavities, so that his patients return sooner, and for more procedures. Why, it's FDA approved! They can even brush their teeth with milkshakes. All of this information is very difficult to verify, as it's around 1960. Libraries are full of books from the Civil War, and not about tooths. Also, that time is known to be the height of human laziness in establishing facts. Fact. Little does Orin know that the candy floss has secretly been sprinkled loads of Audrey II seeds, and that when eaten, grows a plant in the stomach of his patients that eventually eat their way out and burst through their chests, only to devour the rest of the family and grow massive. By that time, Dr. Orin Scrivello's DDS formulated cotton candy has hit the shelves, as it was so popular with his patients. Also with medicated milkshake mouthwash. With the American food market happy to pump their customers full of dozens of ingredients that you definitely don't get any nutritional benefit from, but make it look colourful, people lap it up. Maybe it comes in rainbow colours! Ha ha ha! So as the plants begin their rampage and nobody makes the connection to the good dentist. Yes, doctor.
What?
So how does the plant talk to the dentist?
Just talks to him.
But the dentist is dead.
No, not at this point.
Let's talk timelines.
Yeah, your plan was in the 1980s. Mine was in
A
about
decade not too
1960.
far from our own. Yeah, a decade very far from our own.
I mean, this is not going to be that difficult to answer, is it? This takes place before he eats the
Before
dentist.
he gets
okay,
killed,
there you go.
yes.
Damn, you've got me.
Yeah. That's it.
But is the plant big enough and conscious enough before that? Doesn't he
Yeah,
need the
because-
dentist to become big and
No,
strong?
because he says, the guy sure looks like plant food to me. He's already talking by then and singing.
Oh, yeah.
But
Good point.
He needs an equally evil mind to spread his seed. So he goes for the dentist.
globs
And then
onto the
for some
dentist.
reason, I was thinking about dentist, and then I don't know how it came up, but it's genuinely a dentist invented candy floss with a
That's
confectioner.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's mad.
and then I was like, well, there's my plan.
I did miss the part where that helps Audrey to get into homes.
Seeds.
You
Plant
put
the
the
seeds
seed
in the candy floss.
into the candy floss. And then the peoples eat the candy floss, and then the plants grow in their tummies and eventually burst through their chest.
That was very clever.
A la xenomorph. And then
Yeah,
eat
you
the rest
don't need
of the
to
family.
explain it. We all know.
Yeah.
Gaz is mulling it over. I think he's got a question brewing.
He has got a question brewing.
Here it comes.
Just look at that face.
Here it
Think of
comes.
the thing about apples being sperms. So when you eat an apple, you're eating sperm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But apples don't come from outer space.
I eat a lot of apples.
Do you eat
And a
space
lot
apples?
of sperm.
Drizzled in sperm.
And let me tell you,
Foam. Nice bit of foam on that apple.
I'm just thinking, that condensed milk you put on the strawberries. It's a little bit translucent, isn't it?
Right. Are we finished asking me questions, or does anybody want to...
I'll just make sure I've destroyed yours enough. The credibility
Do
of it.
you know, in the awful Tim Burton Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, do they
Yes.
make a reference to this candy floss fact in that? Because they really should.
If he was clever, he would have done.
Because in that, Christopher Lee plays Willy Wonka's father, who's a dentist.
Yeah, just.
Does he? No. He also plays the scientist in Gremlins 2.
And Dracula. Count.
Did he play Sauron in Lord of the Rings?
No, Saruman. Saruman.
I know he plays Scaramanga. He's got 3 nips.
Well, those plans were ruddy bloody diabolical. In summary, we had Gaz's Don Draper marketing scheme, Ben's Cabbage Patch plan, Super Dude's Mushnik mashup, and my very own Candy Floss caper. But there can only be 1, 2, 3, or 4 people going home with the points. So if you made up your minds, can we all cast our votes? Ben, who's fed you some sweet blood flavour plan this week?
Well, obviously my own was by far the best. But as I'm not allowed to choose my own, I've gone for one that created the greatest imagery of all. And that was the image of a little Audrey II bursting forth from a chest. I have voted for Adam.
Thank you. Super Dude, which scheme has tickled you more than a backpack full of nitrous oxide?
I've also gone with one that conjured up a nice image in my mind and that aligned itself with some of the themes, I think, in the film. And it's not Gaz himself, but Don Draper, whom he channeled. Mad
Gaz.
Good.
And Gaz, which panel of Peril shop window plot has you popping in for some roses?
Well, I voted the same way as one of the first two voters. And as we all know, one cannot vote for oneself. Therefore, I have voted for Adam.
Oh,
Makes sense.
muchos gracias. And in a back-scratching fandango, I voted for a very clever plan, and I voted for Gaz.
Two-way split.
Even Stevens, as they say.
And it's bullshit though, and it's again, once again, mine's the only one that would work. Like, genuinely.
20 years too
I
late.
particularly liked the bit where he managed to get Audrey II to cross Manhattan. I think that was
Yeah,
inspired.
both came up
in
with that
disguise.
rubbish. That absolute nonsense.
Gaz, what has that done to the diabolical ladybird, if you don't mind me asking?
In the lead, with 14 points, is Adam.
Ooh.
Next, jointly, with 11 points, is Super Dude and myself.
Oh my god.
And in the doghouse, in the outhouse, sleeping outside with 8 points is Ben.
In
Right.
perhaps
Tell you what,
what is
I'm
now his
foregoing
traditional
logic from now on.
place.
Fuck you guys. My plan. Good luck piecing it together because it's going to make no sense.
It's the only way you're going to stand a chance of winning this season.
I'm just going to say some weird things like eating ass and then fucking let the points roll in.
I will applaud that.
I beg
if
your
you do
pardon.
that. Yeah.
My plan is absolutely sound, and Mushnik
Yeah.
definitely would have gone for it.
Yeah, that is true. But it's, you padded it out with too much shit at the start.
If anything, more of my plans will involve eating ass as we go along.
Yes,
I'm
I
sure.
think every plan from now until the end should be involving eating ass.
I've had at least 3 plans that involve sucking dick. I noticed.
Yeah.
You're
Each time
very dick heavy, your plans.
Each time I
Yes,
was writing
they are.
them, I kept thinking, "Oh, I'm on this again, am I?"
Oh,
Were you licking your
that
lips
shit
while you're writing
again.
That old chestnut.
You're
Dicks
sucking
are
on a
out.
pen. As you're writing it.
Another delicious memo.
Next week, Gaz is picking the film. Gaz, let's hear what you've selected for us.
Well, Spooktober continues with the very spooky spook of the Outback serial killer, Mick Taylor, from the film Wolf Creek 2.
Oh, not Wolf.
Continuing Spooktober on Diabolical.
Continuing Spooktober that we haven't mentioned for this entire episode.
Ooh, Spooktober. This episode is brought to you in companion with Spooktober, a Diabolical production.
I saw a film a few years ago called Wolf Creek. Has Wolf Creek 2 got anything to do with that?
It's kind of related. It's like a legacy side call.
Like Teen Wolf 2, where the guy from Arrested Development is also a Teen Wolf. 2 meaning also.
It's got a wolf in it, but it takes place in a different creek.
Economical.
Okay.
Do you have to have seen the first Wolf Creek to know what's going on in the second one?
Nah.
You have to have seen the first Teen Wolf to understand what happens in Wolf Creek 2.
Is that a serious question, Tina? Do you want me to answer seriously? You don't need to
Yes.
see the first one.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I've-
You don't
I've-
need to.
Okay.
Have you not seen Wolf Creek?
Oh, you're going to be so
It's-
lost, Turner. You're not going to know what the hell's going on.
And that about wraps things up for another week. We are available across the socials on @DiabolicalPod, so why not get in touch? Tell us how much you enjoy the show and maybe suggest a film you'd like us to cover. Until next week, dear friends, you sure do drive a hard bargain.
Nice.
Downtown, where the folks are broke. You go
live downtown,
where your life's a joke.
You live downtown, where depression's just status quo. Down on Skid Row.